Now, do you remember the famous Levi's laundrette advert in the 80s where that hunky man strips to his boxers in a laundrette? I've got a vague recollection. Well, the idea has been copied by the disabled charity Scope with a different leading man. Take a look at this.
Nobody can deny it. You got a good thing going on. You got me spinning like a yo-yo as you play me all night long. So tell me what you wanna do to me. Stop messing with my head. Are you gonna give me...
Well, calm yourself, ladies and gents. The star of that video, amputee Jake Ayers and Scope stock donation manager Sasha Phillips, both here this morning. Look, Jack, I mean, it's fantastic that you've been doing all of this. Why did you want to get involved and decide to strip down?
I think the biggest thing for me is I wanted to create these role models of disabled people. I wanted to create this strong image, take away the vulnerability that a lot of people think about disabled people. For me, I grew up with my disability, so I grew up without any sort of major role models. So I mean, that's why I wanted to get involved in Scope, and I wanted to make this.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you lost your leg when you were 16.
I had elective surgery, so I had elective amputation when I was 16. Right. I was born with a condition in my leg called PFFD, proximal femoral focal deficiency.
Right.
And it just got progressively worse and worse, and my decision was to amputate it.
Right.
Yeah, best decision I made. Absolutely.
That's interesting, and it's interesting that you talk about the sort of the vulnerable stereotype that a lot of us have around disability. Yeah. You do not strike me as someone who is vulnerable in any way, shape or form.
That's great. That's good. That's good news. Yeah, great.
It's been a couple of years now since the Paralympics. Do you think that the legacy that they brought in 2012 here in London has been sustained, if you like? Because there were some great role models there.
Yeah, they created a lot of really, really good role models with the Paralympic opening ceremony, calling them the superhumans, things like this. But I feel it's very short-lived.
Okay.
I feel like it should have gone a little bit longer. There should be more spin-offs from it. I feel this is one of the first spin-offs that should be sent from it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Why is it, Sasha, that Scope decided to get attached in this way? Because part of my image of Scope, in a way, and I mean, obviously I'm not directly involved with you guys, but it goes back to that older image of how we view disability. Did you feel that it was time as a charity to say, actually, this is what we're doing and representing now?
Well, yeah, I mean, Scope is always trying to push people to think differently about disabled people, and like Jack said, we're trying to promote a new attitude and new role models for disabled people. But we got Jack involved because Scope has 230 shops, and we're running a stock appeal this July, and we wanted to do something a bit different, make a bit more noise to get people thinking about how they can, clear out their wardrobes and take their stuff down to Scope shops.
But how do you balance all this out in terms of not having any... you want empathy for disabled people without pity? Because you don't want pity, Jack, do you?
No,
he doesn't feel pity, do you? No. No, I mean, we think we've got the tone just right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be light-hearted, this film, and we had a great time making it.
And in terms of how you want to move things forward, Jack, I mean, what about role models, and in terms of, just bog standard stuff, ordinary pictures of people in shop windows and what have you? I'm
part of a campaign called Models of Diversity, and that is their big drive. That's what they want to do. They want to get more exposure for disabled people, put them in shop windows, putting them in adverts, putting them in, clothing adverts.
And what's the reception that you get from shops, for example, to that? Are they beginning to open up to that idea, or is there still a bit of resistance? Yeah,
there's a little bit of resistance. They are beginning to. I've done a couple. I do feel that it's kind of the X Factor sub-story, oh, we use disabled people. It's not, again, it's not very long-lived.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need that whole positive attitude. Look, I can see it heading in waves towards you. Great to see you both this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you very
much. Thank you.
Stay with us. Lovely.